As the US women's national team begins its pursuit of a historic third consecutive World Cup, it brings a roster that is in the middle of a transition to a new generation.
Young, energetic players, they're intense.
The bad news for the rest of the world, even without some familiar faces, this team is still going to score a ton of goals. The formation is presented by Synchrony Bank Savings. The wealth of attacking options among veterans and rookies is pretty enviable for the United States. Even with injuries to stars like Sam Mewis, Mal Swanson and Katerina Macario, the US will push forward with a dynamic set of midfielders and forwards. So let's begin in the midfield with two-time World Cup champion Julie Ertz. A warrior so good it hurts. Did I once tweet that? Yes, I did, and I'm not even sorry. What would the US women's national team do without her? Well, we found that out in the run-up to this World Cup, and the answer is struggle. Or at least struggle to fill the void she left during the time she's been out. Without Ertz, the balance is just off. Until the April friendlies, we hadn't even seen Julie in national team action since the US won bronze in the Olympics in 2021. Back then, she'd barely even recovered from an MCL injury, so afterwards, she took some time away from domestic and international soccer to fully recover and then to have her first child. No one alone can do what Julie Ertz does for this team, which is why she was a no-brainer for US coach Vlatko Andonovski to roster, even without being fully fit. Andonovski put it bluntly. He said that if someone's 80 or 90%, in this case Julie's, is still better than somebody else's best, then too bad. On the field, Ertz is a destroyer. She causes chaos and disrupts everything for the opposition. The other team is forced to play around her because of the vast area that she can cover. Think of it like a Julie Ertz force field. This allows the rest of the team to save energy and focus fully on their roles, where they can make bolder and more assertive decisions. Ertz allows her teammates to do what they do best. Without her, no combination has clicked so far. So, if we've established that no one can replace Julie Ertz, perhaps the bigger question is, can Julie Ertz replace Julie Ertz? Well, Ertz said she doesn't even want to go back and be the player she was, because she wants to be even better. Wow, look out world. It's a similar theme for Rose Lavelle. Even after suffering a setback during her recovery from a knee injury, Lavelle's place on this roster was never really in doubt, as long as she could suit up. When you talk of difference makers, impact players, X factors, Rose is it. If she's on her game, the US as a whole are on their game. She just offers so much on both sides of the ball. Andonovski has called the midfielder the best in the world at defending in transition. Not just world class, but the best in the world in that aspect. Lavelle has been a mainstay in the side since she became the breakout star of the last World Cup, but she's been out since April with that knee injury. However, there is still time to continue her recovery, and given the fact that she's on the roster and given her quality, she's probably a starter too. Now, when it comes to the forwards, the strength and depth for the US women is off the charts, and all eyes will be on a player that's constantly being heralded as the future of the US women's national team. It's a label Sophia Smith doesn't really love. However, the excitement surrounding Smith is totally warranted. She led the US women in goals in 2022 with 11, making her the youngest player to lead the team in scoring since a 21-year-old Mia Hamm did so with 10 in 93. 93, by the way, was 7 years before Smith was even born. Being mentioned in the same sentence as Mia Hamm is really something, but Smith has maintained her humility, saying she still has things to improve on. Still, she's incredibly confident and self-assured, which is why we are treated to her fearless style of play and creativity every time she steps onto the pitch. Growing up, her idol was Brazilian legend Marta, and just like her hero, Smith fully expects to become the best in the world. She stated that goal outright in an interview with FIFA.com. The World Cup is Smith's introduction to the world's biggest stage, and I think it's fair to say she's going to grab that opportunity with both hands. Now, to round things out here, we get even younger, with 18-year-old Alyssa Thompson heading to her first World Cup. After becoming the first high schooler taken first in the NWSL draft, Thompson has made a seamless transition into pro soccer. She's lightning quick, unpredictable.
You never know what she's going to do. Whether is it going to be a one-on-one, one-on-two, or give and go, or a shot, left foot, right foot.
And most importantly, she can score goals too, and pretty good ones at that. Pretty incredible given that Thompson only debuted for the US women in October, subbing in for, come on. You didn't think I was going to finish this piece without mentioning Megan Rapinoe, did you? In 2019, Megan earned the Golden Ball as the best player at the tournament. But this time around, the iconic US star is embracing the challenge of playing a completely different role. Rapinoe is no longer an undisputed starter, though she can still make a difference on the pitch. Her 2023 campaign slogan was best described to me by someone who is a friend and former teammate of hers, and that is as the through line for the players to the coaching staff.
I want to do this. I think I can give, so much off the field in terms of my leadership and experience and just being there so many times, just like Kelly and just like Alex and other players that have been there. But then on the field, you have this option, I think I've proven a lot to be a game changer in that way.
Rapinoe's personality, experience, influence, and unmistakable presence in the dressing room is going to be invaluable, not least for the younger players. And by the way, that's all without even bringing up the NWSL Rookie of the Year and the number 5 all-time scorer in US Women's National Team history, who will also be on this roster.
My expectations are that we're the most ruthless team. We're never going to give up, and we're going to get the title.
We're not going to be blowing out teams at all. We're going to have incredibly tough competition from game 1, hopefully until the last game, until the final, August 20th.
So even with the prevailing theme of uncertainty for the US Women's National Team this summer, someone might need to let the team in on that piece of information. Because even with all the unknowns, in their eyes, until someone takes that crown away from them, the US Women's National Team is still number 1. This episode of The Formation is presented by Synchrony Bank Savings. Play to win.